Imagine walking through a dark forest, no walls, no weapons, no flashlight. Just you, the night, and something enormous watching you from the shadows. This wasn't a horror movie. This was everyday reality for our ancient ancestors for hundreds of thousands of years. They faced cave lions twice the size of today's lions, saber-toothed cats with fangs longer than your hand, giant hyenas, cave bears, eagles that could carry off a child. And yet we survived. We didn't just survive, we won. Today, we're going to find out exactly how ancient humans fought back against the most terrifying predators on Earth with nothing but their wits, their tools, and each other. But before we talk about how they fought back, we need to understand exactly what they were up against. And trust me, it was far worse than you think. To understand how ancient humans defended themselves, we first need to understand the predators they shared the world with, because this wasn't the animal kingdom we know today. 50,000 years ago, Earth was populated by megafauna, mega meaning enormous. These weren't just big animals. They were apex predators of a scale we can barely imagine. The cave lion Panthera spelaea was the largest lion species ever to exist, up to 2 meters tall at the shoulder and weighing over 300 kilograms. It hunted in packs, and it lived right alongside early humans in Europe. Then there was Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat. With canine teeth up to 28 centimeters long, it was built to kill large prey, and humans were absolutely on the menu. In Africa, early Homo sapiens and Homo erectus lived alongside giant hyenas, leopards, and enormous crocodiles that were twice the size of today's Nile crocodile. And let's not forget the short-faced bear Arctodicimus found in North America. Standing nearly 3.5 meters tall on its hind legs, it was the largest terrestrial mammalian predator ever to walk the earth. Early humans, small, slow, with no claws, no fangs, no armor, somehow had to survive in a world full of these creatures every single day. So how did a soft, slow, clawless primate even begin to stand a chance? The answer starts with something surprisingly simple, and it changed everything. The single greatest weapon ancient humans had against predators wasn't a spear or a club, it was fire. Evidence suggests Homo erectus was using fire for protection and warmth as far back as 1 million years ago at sites like Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. Fire did several things at once. First, it created light. Predators that hunted in darkness suddenly had their advantage stripped away. Second, almost every large predator on Earth has a deep instinctive fear of fire. A roaring campfire meant no lion, no hyena, no bear would willingly approach the camp. Third, fire hardened the tips of wooden spears, making them sharper and far more deadly. Early humans would hold the tip of a sharpened stick over flame until it hardened. And fourth, fire allowed humans to cook meat, which released far more nutrients and energy, fueling the brain development that would eventually make humans the dominant species on the planet. In many ancient cultures, the firekeeper, the person responsible for maintaining the fire through the night, was one of the most important roles in the entire group. Fire kept predators at a distance. But when the fire went out, or when humans were out hunting during the day, they needed something else. They needed weapons they could hold in their hands. The development of weapons was one of the most revolutionary steps in human survival, and it happened gradually, over hundreds of thousands of years. The earliest stone tools, called Oldowan tools, date back 2.6 million years. They were simple, sharp flakes of stone used primarily for butchering animals, but they were also deadly at close range. By around 300,000 years ago, humans had developed the wooden spear. The Schöningen spears found in Germany are the oldest complete hunting weapons ever discovered. Nearly 2.5 meters long, perfectly balanced, designed for throwing. Then came the atlatl, a spear-throwing device that acted as a lever, multiplying the force and speed of a thrown spear dramatically. Suddenly, humans could hurl a spear with the force of a modern crossbow from a safe distance. These weren't crude weapons. Archaeological analysis shows ancient arrow tips were carefully shaped, often poisoned with plant extracts or animal venom, and designed to break off inside the wound, maximizing internal damage. Weapons were critical, but a lone human with the best spear in the world was still no match for a cave lion. The real secret weapon of ancient humans wasn't made of wood or stone, it was something far more powerful. The most powerful survival tool ancient humans had was not any physical weapon. It was cooperation, the ability to work together as a coordinated group. A cave lion could take down any single human, but 20 humans working together, coordinated, armed, was a very different problem for any predator. ancient humans developed sophisticated group defense systems. When a predator approached camp, the group would form a tight circle, all facing outward, presenting a wall of spears and fire torches in every direction. They also practiced something called mobbing, the same behavior we see in crows attacking hawks today. A group would surround a predator, shout, throw rocks, wave fire, and make themselves seem enormous and terrifying. Humans also developed complex communication, allowing them to warn each other about predators from a distance. This was a massive advantage that no other prey species had. And there's even evidence from hunter-gatherer societies that groups would sometimes go on the offensive, actively tracking and killing dangerous predators near their territory, not just to protect themselves, but to remove the threat permanently. Group strength and weapons were vital, but there was another layer to ancient human survival that's often overlooked: the places they chose to live. Their shelters were a weapon in themselves. Where you sleep determines whether you wake up. Ancient humans understood this, and they were remarkably strategic about choosing where to live. Caves were prized real estate, but not just any cave. The ideal cave had a single narrow entrance wide enough for humans to enter, but difficult for large predators to squeeze through. The entrance would be guarded with fire and blocked with thorny branches, heavy stones, or wooden stakes at night. A makeshift door that no predator wanted to push through. Some early human groups built elevated sleeping platforms in trees, keeping them safely above ground-level predators during the most vulnerable hours of the night. In later prehistoric periods, humans built enclosed camps with wooden palisades, sharpened stake walls around their entire settlement. This is one of the oldest forms of military fortification in human history. Shelter, fire, weapons, and cooperation all helped. But ancient humans had one more trick up their sleeve, something that turned them from prey into predators themselves. They started thinking like hunters. This was the shift in mindset that truly changed everything. Ancient humans eventually stopped merely defending themselves and began hunting the hunters. Persistence hunting was one of the earliest and most remarkable hunting strategies. Humans could not outrun a lion in a sprint, but humans could run slowly and steadily for hours without stopping, something most large predators simply could not do. Groups of hunters would track large animals and sometimes even dangerous predators across many kilometers, pursuing them until they collapsed from exhaustion. This required extraordinary endurance and exceptional tracking skills. Ancient humans developed an astonishing ability to read the landscape. They could interpret broken grass, displaced stones, claw marks, animal droppings, and even the flight patterns of disturbed insects to track and predict the movements of predators. There is also strong evidence that ancient humans stole food from other predators, a behavior known as kleptoparasitism. A group of 20 people shouting and waving burning torches could drive lions away from a fresh kill and claim the meal for themselves. And perhaps most remarkable of all, ancient humans used traps, pitfalls, snares, and deadfall traps. Passive killing systems could capture and kill predators without the need for direct confrontation. Through fire, tools, cooperation, intelligent shelter design, and offensive tactics, ancient humans gradually shifted the balance of power. But the final factor, and perhaps the most underestimated element of their survival, was knowledge, the ability to understand the animals that shared their world. Fighting predators was a last resort. The truly effective survival strategy of ancient humans was understanding predator behavior so well that confrontation could often be avoided altogether. Ancient people memorized the patterns of every dangerous animal within their territory. They knew which species hunted at night and which hunted at dawn. They knew which animals feared fire, which were territorial, and which would actively pursue fleeing humans. They learned which predators gave warning signs before attacking, and which struck in complete silence. A charging lion might roar. A leopard could drop from a tree without any warning at all. Knowing the difference could save your life. This knowledge was incredibly valuable, and it was passed down through generations through storytelling. Cave paintings, oral traditions, and rituals were not merely forms of art or religion, they were survival manuals. Many prehistoric cave paintings depict dangerous animals, lions, bears, and mammoths with extraordinary anatomical detail. Researchers believe these images help teach younger members of the group about predator behavior, movement, and vulnerabilities. Ancient humans also understood that most predators were opportunists. They preferred easy prey. By making themselves appear to be difficult, dangerous, and costly targets, they could discourage attacks without having to fight at all. And all of these elements, fire, weapons, teamwork, shelter, and knowledge, combined into something truly extraordinary. Step back for a moment and consider what ancient humans actually accomplished. Ancient humans didn't just survive. They drove most of the large predators they encountered to extinction. Cave lions, saber-toothed cats, short-faced bears, giant hyenas, and enormous prehistoric crocodiles all disappeared, and their decline is closely linked to the arrival of modern humans in each region. We didn't accomplish this through brute strength. We did it through intelligence, adaptability, and humanity's unique ability to cooperate and pass knowledge from one generation to the next. The ancient humans who survived were not the biggest or the strongest. They were the most adaptable, the ones who excelled at learning, communicating, and solving problems together. And in many ways, that remains true today. The qualities that helped our ancestors survive in a world filled with monsters: curiosity, cooperation, and an endless desire to understand the environment around them, are still among the most valuable traits we possess. If you enjoyed this exploration of ancient survival, be sure to like and subscribe. We cover stories like this every day. And leave a comment below. Which predator do you think was the most terrifying threat ancient humans ever faced?